my 5 top weight loss tips for law enforcement officers. This is just based on my experiences with working in law enforcement, working with law enforcement officers who want to lose weight. The weight loss doesn't change whether you're a cop or not, but I understand the difficulties that law enforcement officers have, so here are my top 5 tips. Number 1 is to increase activity, and it doesn't have to be exercise activity. Just non-exercise related activity, more movement, less time sitting down as possible, minimize as much as possible, getting more steps in a day, honestly will have a greater impact than just a 5-minute workout or a 10-minute workout and then sitting down the rest of the day. Overall activity throughout the day is a great way to burn calories. It's not necessarily about getting a workout in. Getting a workout in can burn a number of additional calories, but just increase normal non-exercise activity. Number 2 is to start reading nutritional labels if you are not. So we want you to understand what's in your food. What foods are high calorie, what foods are high fat, high carb, high protein. What's in the foods that you're eating, to have a basic understanding so that when you don't have labels in front of you, when you're not at the grocery store and you have to make food choices, you can make better choices because you have been looking at the nutritional labels of the foods you're buying and eating at home. So that will just build an excellent knowledge base for you to work from. Now, number 3 is going to be meal prep, but have a backup plan. So perfect world, you prep all your meals, you make sure you're getting enough protein. Everything's laid out for the week. You have it all made, you make it before your cycle of work days start, and you have all your meal prep ready to go for all your meals throughout your series of work days. But have a backup plan. So you're not always gonna have access maybe to a microwave if that's the type of food you prepped. Whatever, something happens, you screw up the meal prep, whatever. You can't get to it, you can't do the meal prep. So have a backup plan. Know what you're gonna do when you don't have pre-made food for you. So where are you gonna go? What food choices are you gonna make? If you're stuck with a gas station, already have a plan set in your mind that this is, if I don't eat my meal prep, this is my backup plan. So that you don't end up going off the rails and getting a 12-inch meatball sub from Subway or something like that. So meal prep if possible, but have a backup plan if it falls through. Number 4 is to set rules that will limit your overall intake of calories. An example of setting rules for yourself to decrease your portions is to eat from smaller plates, smaller bowls, stuff like that. Only eat when you're in the kitchen is another example. Maybe you only eat when you're in the squad room, or you only eat in certain locations. So that way that'll minimize grazing and snacking all the time if you're only eating in certain locations. So setting rules like this, where it's not food-based, but it indirectly affects the number of calories you're taking in, that can have a dramatic impact on your calorie intake. And then number 5 is to monitor, adjust, and be patient, because proper weight loss is gonna take time. It's gonna take, depending on the amount of weight loss you wanna make, it could take months, it could take years. So monitor, what I mean by that is monitor your weight. Ideally, you'd weigh yourself 2 to 3 times per week, same time of day, and take the average of those weigh-ins, and then do that from week to week. Compare your averages from week to week. If you are not trending in the direction you want to go in, then something needs to change. And likely the biggest lever you could pull is to reduce your calorie intake. And so that might mean taking a look at your food choices that you've made and find one that you can replace with something else that will reduce the calories down, okay? But while still getting enough protein, of course. It's gonna take time, and that's honestly a good thing, because for this to really stick, for it to become your lifestyle, just the way you live, it's better that it just is more of a slow burn than something real quick. I mean, the biggest problem with diets, the biggest problem with weight loss goals is that they'll be super strict and really hard on themselves, and they'll lose the weight, but because the diet was so regimented and so strict that they go off the rails and they gain all the weight back. It's a huge problem with weight loss. It's gonna take time even if you get it right the first time. So just be patient with it and learn to adjust to this new lifestyle that you are creating for yourself. So those are my top 5 weight loss tips for cops. We have a blog. If you want to read more about this with a lot more detail, check out the blog at effective.fitness.